Hello everyone, today's lesson we are going to go through your class test paper, but we will only focus on inference question for your SPQ. So let's take a look at question 1A. Study source A. What is the message of this source? Explain your answer using details from the source. So what is this question testing you on? It is actually testing you on main message. Yes, that's right. So how do we answer main message? It should be PEE times 1. After identifying the skill, we should now take a look at the question paper to read the issue question and the background information. Take a look at the issue question. Why did Singapore fall to the Japanese in 1942? So, circle the important keywords that you can see when you read the issue question. Next, take a look at the background information. Now, this background information is supposed to give you an idea of what the SPQ is going to be about. However, you are not supposed to use the background information as your answer. This is only supposed to help you to understand the topic better. Next, let's take a look at the source itself. Source A is a British cartoon published in 1941 in Singapore. As you can see, there is a wolf blowing at the house. Now, it will remind you of the story of the 3 little pigs. However, you are not supposed to use any of it as part of your answer, as you're supposed to relate it back to the Japanese occupation. As we have mentioned just now, always refer back to your issue question. Right? So now let's highlight and identify the keywords and the information from the picture itself. It's British is the author of the source. Next, 1941 is the year that it was produced. Then, the wolf itself. What does the wolf represent? As you can see, there are flags, the Japanese flags on the knee and the cap of the wolf. So, the wolf is representing the Japanese. Next, the house. It is a brick house, alright, with the little pig staying inside. So, this means that the brick house represents Singapore. So how do we translate that to Japanese occupation? Step 1, we have already identified that the source was produced by the British, means that this is the British perspective of the Japanese occupation. Now, what about the wolf that we have circled just now? What does the wolf represent? The wolf represents, alright, the fact that he was trying to attempt to blow down the house, which is Singapore. So Japanese was trying very hard to attack Singapore. What about the brick house itself? What does it represent? It represents Singapore, but as you can see, the wolf was trying very hard to destroy the house. But did it succeed? No, it did not succeed because it was the house was very stable, which means that Singapore could defend themselves from the wolf, right? Because they were stable. Next, all in all, what is the message? As we have went through just now, alright, it means that, alright, the British perspective of the Japanese occupation was such that the Japanese was trying very hard to attack Singapore, but Singapore could defend themselves from the wolf because they were stable from the brick house itself. So this means that the British thought that Singapore was in an impregnable fortress that could not be defeated by the Japanese. Alright, with all this information, think the answer. How do we write the answer? Always remember that you need to answer the question using the question step. Question asks you what is the message of the source. So let's start writing. The message of the source is right, that the British thought of Singapore as impregnable or undefeatable, as the Japanese were no match for Singapore's defense. Remember, this is your point. After your point, we should be writing your evidence. Yes. So how do we start writing the evidence? As this is a pictorial source, you should be starting your sentence with, this is evident in the source which shows that a pig is safe and secure in a well-built brick house. Labeled Singapore. On the other hand, there is a wolf which represents the Japanese, who was attempting to attack the house. Very good. You have described the source fully. After your evidence, you will need to do your explanation. Remember class, I've always taught you to start explaining, you need these 3 words. This means that. And then you copy back your main message, which is the British thought of Singapore as impregnable, or undefeatable, okay, and the special word here will be because. This is when you will start to rephrase and explain. No matter how hard the Japanese tried to attack Singapore, Singapore was not destroyed, and the Japanese were seen as inferior. To Singapore's defense, showing how strong Singapore can be. At the point of time. Full stop. Excellent. There you have it. Your PEE times 1 with all the question stem, your sentence structure, your M or your rather PEE times 1. Very well then. We'll continue with the next lesson some other time. See you. Bye.